Hi everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, as promised, we are going to continue one more week of crafting for Valentine's Day. I found these really cute heart-shaped pink boxes at Michael's, and I thought these would be really fun as an addition to the Valentine's Day baskets that I'm putting together for the girls, which I'm going to show you in just a moment. So we're going to decorate those. We love little things like this. The girls love to put their little trinkets and things like this, but for the basket, I'm going to fill them with candy. So let me set those to the side because I'll show you where I'm at with their baskets since so many of you have asked. Okay, so I began putting together their little baskets and I have a variety of fun things inside. Much of the things are identical except for a couple things are different colors based on their color preferences, and then of course their age appropriate books. So for each of the little baskets we have a fun little, now I have to still arrange all of this, get some fun little confetti fill if you will, and just make it all cutesy, but at this point this is how I kind of get started. I start putting things in baskets and then continue crafting for the baskets, and then at the very end when everything is ready, then I start froofing it up and making it all cute. So in this basket, of course, last week we made these really cute mugs. These are serving as hot cocoa mugs because we enjoy cocoa all year round. So each of my little ones is going to get one of these. Then I found these at Target. They're so fun. I need to still cut the tags off, but this is just a little keychain for backpacks. So fun. I love them so much. And for this, we have, for her basket, we have a little blue one because she likes blue. So that is super fun. And then I also, of course, have mini M&Ms because I promise you they taste better than the full-size M&Ms for some reason. They are just so delicious and we love these around here. I also found some really cute Play-Doh, and so I got her a pink one and then I got her a blue one because again, color preferences, and I like to do that as much as I can. Then I went and did a couple things different for each basket, again, based on age-appropriate items. We adore the crayon series. If you have not read any of these books, they are so fun. Now, disclaimer, I have not read this one. I didn't know this one existed, but it looked like it was a little bit more of a Valentine's Day edition. So I definitely grabbed it because we enjoy this series. But if you haven't read, I think it's called The Day the Crayons Quit or something like that. I'll try to find it and link it below. I love it and the girls love it. It's just so cute. So we're adding this to our collection. Again, kind of changing it up for my other little one because of her age. This is adorable. I found this, it's called Follow My Heart, and I'll link everything that you see down below, but it's a little finger maze, so you can start and then kind of just trace around with your finger as we tell a little story. There's a variety of little mazes throughout the book, and again, she's just getting a different book just on age-based. So another little item I put in each of their baskets was this really cute paint your own magical world kit. I think this is so fun. They love doing things like this. We also love these little finger paint soaps. We actually use them more in little trays on the dining room table and use it kind of as finger paint and just kind of more of a little texture play. So I found these as well and put one in each basket. And then I found these really fun tic-tac-toe boards. Most of these things, I should mention, are actually from Target. In fact, everything you see is from Target except for the little mugs, which I found at Hobby Lobby. And then of course we decorated them last week. But Target always just serves me right when I need to do these little baskets. So we are in love with tic-tac-toe right now. So I did one for each of the girls' baskets. I loved the look of this too. I thought it was just so pretty. And then finally, I did a really fun little outfit for Valentine's Day. These are little sweatshirt tutu combos. So cute. And I'll link them down below if they're still available as well. So again, much of the same thing in each basket, and I still need to get them all prettied up, if you will, but I think these are going to be fun little surprises for Valentine's morning, and I just love how they're going so far. So my little guy is still a little small to have a basket of things like this, but I did find a cute little Valentine's Day book for him as well, which he'll enjoy, and then when he gets a little bigger, then of course he will join in on all the basket fun. Okay, so setting these to the side, again, once they are all filled, this is kind of how I like to start. I just start throwing things in baskets, and then once I have everything all ready, then I start arranging it and getting it to its final state. But once they are all put together, I'll post a final picture on Instagram, and hopefully that inspired you if you like to do fun little things like this around the holidays. All right, for the first thing, we are going to just apply cute little one initial monograms to both of these boxes. I had a little scrap piece of vinyl. This is a perfect project for scrap vinyl because of the small nature of the project. And I just did first initials. I loved using a really fun pattern because it just kind of takes, I mean, of course you could use white or a light pink or any color that you wish, but I think it just adds a little element of fun when you have a fun little pattern. Okay, so let me grab some transfer tape. We'll quickly get these all put together, and then we'll have another little thing to put in their baskets. Okay, so I am going to opt for a paper transfer tape for this project because this has a paper base to it. So I want to have something with a little lower tack to it so that when I go to apply the vinyl and then remove the transfer tape, I don't ruin the finish or I don't do any ripping. So whenever given a project that has more of a delicate or paper base, I always opt for a paper transfer tape. They sell this at Expressions Vinyl. I always link it down below, but at times it does go out of stock or the link isn't working, so I'll do my best to link it once more, but if you can't find it, it is at Expressions Vinyl. Okay, so I'm just simply going to line that up the best that I can. I think it needs to come over just a little bit. The only thing hard about it is it's not a clear transfer tape, so you have to somewhat kind of position and pray that it's gonna be in the right spot, but I think that's gonna be pretty cute. Okay. Just like that. And I love how that turned out. So fun, and I love the little pattern. I'm gonna do the same thing with my second one. And this is so low tack that honestly, every time I use it after I'm done, I just toss it. I have just replaced the roll recently, but I did use one roll for over a year. And I think that's true. I mean, I wanna say it was at least a year. I mean, it lasts forever. So because it's so low tack, it's not one that you're going to use over and over and over again. So I usually just toss it once I'm done. Okay. Then we have that one. And I think those are so fun. So I'm going to place those in each of the baskets. Super fun. I'm going to fill them with some candy, and these will be fun little additions to their little surprise. Okay, pausing with basket preparation for just a moment, I found this beautiful table runner at Target. Again, I'll try to link it down below. So pretty, and it's just so subtle and simple. I love it. So I will do my best to find and link it down below for you if you're wanting to add a little Valentine's Day fun to your table. But I have a really pretty, I took this over to my iron-on drawer and tried to color match really nicely a red, and I found the perfect red. I think it's so pretty, and I'm going to just add a fun little embellishment to the little one little end. Now you could do both if you'd like. I liked the idea of just doing one, just keeping it really simple. And I'll link font information down below as always. This is one of my new favorite fonts because I've spoken to this before on my channel, but I feel like no matter what you write with this font, it looks gorgeous. So if you're looking for a fun font to add to your collection, this one just is wonderful. So again, everything will be linked down below and you'll be all set. Okay, so I'm just gonna weed out those little centers. This one is super sticky today. Okay, and I just wrote, I love you. I kind of went back and forth with a bunch of different sentiments, but in the end, I just really liked a simple I love you. Another idea is doing the little hugs and kisses, so the XOXO, that would be super cute, especially spanning across the entire width. I thought that would be really cute as well. Okay, so now my heat press is all ready. I'm going to really quickly take this over to my heat press. I'm going to pre-press the material just to make sure it's nice and moisture free, and it's pretty unwrinkly, if that's probably not even the right way to say it, but it's pretty wrinkle free is a better way to say it. So I'm not having to do much pressing to get any wrinkles out, but that will remedy that as well once we do that. But then I'm going to just do a quick little lint roll to make sure there's no lint on the surface, and then I will iron this down. And I think that is so simple and cute. I do think I'm going to right justify this. I love the look of that. Of course, just so you know, and just so you can see it visually, you can center it too. That'd be cute, but I love that, and that's definitely my style. Okay, let's go ahead and get this heated up, and we'll have another project all ready for Valentine's Day. Okay, bringing it back over and bringing it to a cool surface. It's so long, so it's just hanging off my craft table, but I love how that looks. Sorry, it's upside down right now. I'm gonna try to refold it so that we can see in just a moment, but now that it's cooled, I'm going to monitor all of the little edges of my iron-on. Everything laid down beautifully, so I don't need to do any repressing. Okay, and then here is the final little look. Isn't that pretty? It's so subtle, so simple, and it looks like it should have been there all along. I just love how that looks. So there is another little idea on how you can use your Cricut to just dress up a little piece of decor, and I just love how that looks. Recently in a video, I fell in love with this iron-on. I had had it in my craft room for a very long time, and I put it on a very bright pink shirt, and it has become my favorite sweatshirt to wear. And I thought I'd do something fun with it for Valentine's Day, but also the idea that I have, you can run with it and wear it any time of the year. But I really wanted to use this another way on another color, so I'm gonna do this nice pale pink. I also really wanna do this on a navy blue because I think that would be so pretty. So again, font information will be down below, but I used this font and I typed out the word loved with a little period on it, and I loved how it looked, but also I did go ahead and curve my text a little bit just because I think that really adds some really nice just soft visual interest to a sweatshirt. I think that's really pretty, or really any shirt, but I just curved it just ever so slightly. Now, if you are going to curve a font that you are going to weld in the end, so of course I needed to weld this font after because all the pieces needed to be connected to one another because it is a cursive font. So we wanted to connect the pieces in the end. But when you want to curve a font like this, that it is cursive, you want to do all of your curving before you weld, because once you weld, you can't do any curve. So I did that. I typed it up, and I think that's so cute. So let me bring this up. So I typed it out, then I curved, and then once I did that, I realigned all of my letters. I think that's so simple and fun. I realigned all my letters to make sure they stayed connected, because sometimes when you curve, some of them can pull apart from one another. And then once I liked how everything was, then I welded it together. But I think that's really, really fun. I love how that looks. I think this will look really, really fun with a pair of nice jeans and just some little tennies. I think it'd be fun. Okay, I'm gonna do much the same as I did with the last craft where we did the table runner. I'm gonna go over, pre-press my sweatshirt, and then I'm also going to make sure that I lint roll it, and then I'll go ahead and press this design on. I think this is gonna be super cute. Okay, I'm gonna bring it back over here just to set it on a cooler surface so that it cools down quicker. And then once it's cool, I'll peel off the liner. Okay, now that this is nice and cool, I'm going to, again, monitor all of my edges as I peel away the liner. If there's anything that's pulling up, I will simply take this liner once more and lay it right back down over the design. and then I can add some additional heat. But you always want to put your liner back over just to protect and just give a barrier between your heat source and your iron-on. But that laid down perfectly. I love how that looks. I love the softness of it. I really love that it's just really subtle but very pretty. So I love this, and I'm happy to have a little something for myself for Valentine's Day. Okay, so now we're going to finish. Well, yes, the last thing for the little baskets, we're gonna do some little faux leather clippies, which I absolutely love. And then after that, we are going to play around with the Cricut pens. Okay, so I've done this so many times on my channel. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I'll tell you why. You do not need a lot of material. I measured these out at 1 inches by 4 inches. You'll also want to be aware of the type of clip that you use. Some are longer than the others. So the ones that I like to use, they require the 1 inch by 4 inch measurements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my little snap clips. You do not need a Cricut for this machine. So you can simply use a paper trimmer or scissors to cut this out, and I'll show you how easy it is. So sometimes I feel like using a Cricut just takes so much longer than need for the particular project, and this is an example of one of them. If I wanted to use my Cricut for this, I'd have to get the appropriate mat, get the material positioned perfectly on the mat. I would have to go into Design Space and make the rectangle. I'd have to get it all sized and ready to go. And honestly, I could do that, or I could grab a little paper trimmer or a pair of scissors and I could just trim it out. So I wanted to mention that because just because we have a Cricut machine doesn't mean it's always the best choice for crafting certain things. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to use a paper trimmer for this. I'm going to grab my little mini trimmer, and I am going to position this just so I get a height of 1 inch. Hold down my little guard here so it doesn't move. And look how easy that trims. And I just love it. So then I can go ahead and trim down the other side to be 4 inches. And there we go. So now we have our little 1 inch by 4 inch piece. So easy and already done. Again, scissors are perfect as well. Now, I do have a video all about how to do these on your Cricut machine as well, because you absolutely can. And if you're someone who makes a lot of these, you could just save your little template in Design Space and you could just keep reusing it and reusing it and reusing it. So I will link to that video as well if you want a really slow version of how to do these faux leather clips, but it's super simple, super easy, and super fast. So one thing, again, that I love about this is that it doesn't take a lot of material. So if you have little pieces of leftover faux leather, this is a wonderful little buster for getting rid of those pieces and making some really pretty things. I also have some hot glue. So what I'm going to do is just open up all of my little snap clips. And then what I did here is I just found a little trio that I thought was really fun. So this was kind of my base. I found this on Etsy, and I'll do my best as always to link it. These are on Etsy, or this particular one is on Etsy, and I'll do my best to link it for you. So I used this kind of as my base, and then for the other two, I just pulled some colors that I thought would be fun to make a fun little coordinating trio. So I have my pattern in the middle. I have a really fun kind of more holographic pink one that I thought was fun and pulled the pinks out of these little mason jars, and then I have a little robin's egg blue that I thought really completed the trio really nicely. So I like having a pattern, something fun, and then a solid for a little collection. I think that's super fun. Again, I'm just a mama who's making these for my kids, so there's really no rhyme or reason, but it's just kind of how I like to get them all styled up for gift giving. Okay, so now I'm going to take my clip and press it down. And you'll notice that my pattern is on the opposite side. So just like that. Now I have to think through which way I want this clip to go. I think it goes this way. And I'm saying that because this is a directional pattern. So I'm trying to remember for which kiddo, which direction it needs to go for their particular part. And I think this is going to work just fine, but I'm going to double check. Yes. Okay. So my kiddos have two separate parts from one another, so I have to make sure that their clippy is going to be right side up in their hair. Okay, so I have it like this. Now you'll notice that I did not move my faux leather all the way to the end there. I left a little bit of a little gap, And so what I'm going to do next, it's just helpful if you leave a little gap for when you fold over, and you'll see why in a moment, but I'll explain it once we get there because it'll make more sense. So with my clippy this side, I'm just going to take my hot glue. Hot glue is perfect for this. And I get asked how well these hold up. I have made these for my girls for a couple years now, and they're still wearing them. So, and we work kind of hard on our clippies. They kind of go everywhere. They go in the pool, all the places. So then you're just going to squeeze the sides. If a little bit of glue comes out, that's perfect, because then you can just run your finger over, of course being careful because it is hot, but it kind of seals the little edge there. It makes it that much more complete. Okay, so now the reason why you don't want to push that all the way up is you want to have more room to fold over. So by bringing this down a little bit, you're giving yourself more material on this side to fold over and then meet. If you push that all the way up, you're kind of giving yourself just about a 1/2 inch or less to work with on the other end. And it just makes it a little bit less durable in my opinion. The more you can fold over on the other side, the better. Okay, so adding some glue there, and then I'm just going to fold, line that up, and press. Again, I kind of over glue so that I do have some glue coming out the sides, because I really like the idea of just kind of running my finger over carefully, of course. I feel like I'm kind of immune to hot glue at this point, but you want to be careful with it because it is very hot. But I like that because it just seals that little edge. But that is the final little clippy. Isn't that adorable? I think that is just so fun. So I'm going to really quickly go through, I'll go through one more with you because I think repetition can be really helpful to see the whole process and then just see it one more time. But again, giving myself some room, let me nudge that up there and show you why you don't want to do that. So if I nudge that all the way up and then go to wrap it, do you see how I have less material to wrap? And I feel like when you have less, then it's more likely to kind of pull up in the end. It's just a little less durable. But at the same time, you don't want to go really far down, because then you're not giving yourself much room in here, because this is going to be glued. You're not giving yourself much room to place the clip in the hair. So I always find that just a hair under, and it's not even 1/4 inch. But I feel like that's just better. Okay, there we go. Let me line that up, and then I'm going to snap it and turn it over. Okay, I'll add my glue, and there we go. Again, a little more than needed. Seal the edge, a little more than needed, and seal the edge. Okay, now I'll just finish it up by adding more there. Okay, I'm gonna grab one more glue stick and I'm gonna finish the last snap clip on my own, because I think you get the idea. And again, if you want a longer process video on these, I'm happy to link my other video. That one is much longer and goes into the design space portion of it as well. Okay, isn't that so cute? Now, if you have a little extra glue, you can just take your scissors and just trim it down. Easy peasy, and it's all remedied. I think these are so fun. I love these. I think they're so just clean looking. They're just our preference for fun hair accessories. Okay, so finishing up that last one, I think these are so fun. I love these because, again, it's a good scrap buster. I always have larger faux leather projects that I use with my embroidery machine, where I can make little sanitizer holders and chapstick holders and stuff like that, and there's always little pieces that come off, so I love that I can do something fun with them. Okay, in order to get them, oh, and this is another one I've done with my little embroidery machine with faux leather, so fun. But in order to get them kind of organized for gift giving, what I like to do, now this is so unprofessional. This is just a mama trying to get a little gift put together. Of course, if you ran an Etsy business or you sold these, you would have a workflow and a measuring system and all of that. But what I do is I take a little T-square ruler, I put it on a little piece of cardstock. This measures 3 inches by 5 inches. Of course, that would depend on how many clips that you had, but I think that's a good measurement for 3 clips. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of line these up how I want them to be displayed on the card. So I'm going to give them even placement, get them all arranged just so, and I'm thinking that looks pretty good. I'm going to bring these down just a little bit. Again, this is just a little cheat, a little quick way to do it, but if you had a business and you were doing this all the time, then of course you would have a template and measurements and all of that stuff. But all I do then is I just kind of see where I'm going to need to make a little cut, put my little line there, and then I have some little marks that I can use a little True Control knife to trim out. Okay, I'm just going to use this rotating cutting board that I have for my sewing projects because I don't like to cut on my glass mat. But I'm going to grab my little True Control knife, and then I'm simply going to just, where I put those pencil marks, place a little line there. Okay, so now what I can do, again, this is me just doing this really quickly, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take that clip, place it through, close it, so then it's attached, and do the same thing for each of them. Close it. And finally, close. And then from there, you can kind of wiggle them into position, get them all just so. And then you have a really fun little way to give your little snap clips, which I think is so fun and really, really organized and sleek looking. Now, another thing that I think would be really cute is if you ran this through your Cricut machine and you did like a little scalloped border. I think that would be precious. So fun. But I kept it really simple, really clean, and I think this is a really fun way. Instead of just throwing them into a basket or a bag, this is a fun way to display them. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is we are going to work on a fun little project with the Cricut pens, and I know so many of you love Cricut pen projects. I haven't done one in forever, but Cricut pens are so fun to use. They're so easy to use, but they can be a little complicated in design space if you're not quite sure what to do. So I'm going to walk you through it every step, and we're going to do a fun little project with the Cricut pens that I think you're really going to like. Okay, so for our final craft of the evening, I just wanted to share a really fun little tradition that we have started with the kiddos that we really enjoy, and it just brings some excitement leading up to Valentine's Day. So the idea is that every evening after bedtime and after everyone's asleep, we'll put a little heart on their bedroom door so that every morning that they wake up, there'll be a new heart explaining reasons why they're special, reasons why we love them, things that we appreciate about them. And by February 14th, so again, this starts February 1st and then ends on February 14th. And by the time February 14th is there, then their whole door is covered with these beautiful hearts, beautiful affirmations, and it's just so, so fun. So I went ahead and did set in light blue because one of my kiddos really likes light blue. And so things that it will say is, of course, the first heart will say you're special because. Things will include you're caring. You can pick anything that you want. And other things are you're a sweet sister, you're creative. And I like to do a variety of, a variety of sizes just because it makes it really visually fun. You have great ideas, you have a great laugh, you're a nice friend. Anyway, you can pick anything that you'd like, but the way that I create these is with cardstock and the Cricut pen. So I'm going to take you into Design Space. This is really easy to do. It's a really, really simple and fun little tradition that you can start. To be honest, it means the world to them. They absolutely love it. So again, the first one I did was in this glacier. It's really pretty. It's 100-pound cardstock from Spellbinders. The second set that I'm going to do is in this pink sand. Again, 100-pound cardstock. And I really, really like this weight and thickness. I think it's the perfect weight for a project like this. Okay, so now that you kind of get a visual for where we're going with this project, let me take you into Cricut Design Space and I will show you how you can get this all set up in the software and then get it prepared to cut out and draw with your Cricut machine. Okay, so here we are in Cricut Design Space. This is what it will look like in the software. Again, I actually have a total of 15 hearts, including the introductory heart, but then there will be 14 little hearts that have all of the sweet reasons why they're special, why they're loved, and it's just a really fun thing to do. So let me just show you, I'm going to recreate one of the hearts so you understand how to set this up yourself, and then I'll teach you how you are going to have your Cricut write and cut this out. So I'm going to leave this on the screen and I'll just recreate over here. That way you kind of get an idea of where we're going with this. So what I'm going to do first is I'm simply going to either go to shapes. If you click on shapes over here, it's the fourth button down on the left side. There is a heart. I mean, I'm picky about things. I don't really love this heart. I don't really like the shape of it. So what I did is I went to images. And let me click out of this. I'm going to go to search all images. And as you see over here, I have it filtered to free. I do not have Cricut access, so I don't want to pick anything that I'm going to have to pay for. So what I did was I went over to this filter side and I filtered for free. That way I'm only seeing things that are free images. So I'm going to go to search all images. I'm going to type in heart. Click enter on my keyboard, and then I can, again, since I have this filter on over here, I can only see images that are free that correspond with the word heart. So as you can see, there's a very big variety. If I scroll down a little bit, this is the one that I end up gravitating towards, and I love this. It's just a little bit of a softer shape of heart, and I really like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. You can see there's a little green highlight around there. That indicates that we have clicked on it. You can also see it down in your little dock down here. And then I'm simply going to come over to this green button, add to canvas, and it will take it into our workspace or our canvas for Cricut Design Space. So it pulls it on in. It doesn't really matter what color you make it. You can come up to, if you have it clicked, let's see, you can come up to here and then you can pick any colors that you want. So why don't I just make this blue? That's going to be our example. You'll see over in the layers panel, there is another layer to this. You don't need that, so you can click on it and just select delete and it will go away. Okay, now we are going to focus on how we are going to have a text and how we're going to have our Cricut write onto the heart. So you're going to size any way that you'd like, any size that you want. I just slide it up and down just like this. I think my biggest heart is at about 5 inches. So I'll click on these so you know what my dimensions are. I have this one at 4.5 inches essentially by 4.37. Then the next size is 4 inches by 3.5 inches. And then the next size is 3 1/3 by about 3 inches. And then my final size is 2.5 by 2 1/4 ish. Very rough estimates. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the text. So I'm going to come over to the left-hand side once again and hover over this text box, click it, and you'll see we have a text box that appears here. Now let's talk about how you get writing fonts. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to come up to operation. It's right up here in this top banner. You're going to make sure that the operation is set to pen. And once you have it set up to pen, that means your Cricut is going to write it out. So you want to make sure that it is under this draw section. You're going to select the pen because that's what we're going to use. Then for fonts, you're going to click on this font box, and what you're going to do here, let me unclick my little filters here. When you open this box, I'm going to click on this box, the font box, you're going to see a lot of fonts. But before you do anything, you need to filter for fonts that are compatible with the pen. So I'm going to come up to this little filter bar here. First, I'm going to filter for writing. This is going to show us only fonts that are compatible with the pen and that do a great job with writing with the pen. I'm also going to filter for free, just like I did with the images, because I do not have Cricut access and I do not want to pay for the font. So again, this is the filter box right here. I filtered for writing and I filtered for free. Then I can just click on out of that, just click anywhere. And then it says we have 21 fonts to choose from under those filters, and you can just simply browse through to pick which one you'd like. I like this Telegram text. It's really good. It reminds us right here that it is a writing font, which is wonderful. So it's going to work with the pen. So clicking on that, I'm simply going to come over out of the text box, double click over on our actual text, and then I can write what I'd like. So I'm just going to recreate one of these. I can do your kind. So I'm simply going to write your, enter, kind. Now, when I did the period, I felt like it was really, really close to the word. So what I did was backspace, and then I put a little space between the period, and then I actually put my period in. I just liked how that looked a little bit better. Again, that's your call. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it up to my heart. I am going to size it where I'd like. And again, I always get questions on what font size I use. I actually don't come up to this font size box and type in a manual font. I am always sliding back and forth and just visually sizing this way, and I'm not using a particular number. So sometimes I'm getting asked, what size font? Please tell us what size font. I honestly don't know because I'm never really referencing this box. I am only referencing visually over here. Okay, so that looks good to me. If you want to further center it and make sure it's absolutely perfect, you can select both by dragging over both. You can come up to align and you can say center, and then it's centered perfectly. Okay, the next really, really important thing that you want to do is you want to tell your Cricut that you want it to write out these words right in this exact spot on the heart. So in order to do that, what you want to do is select both of them. You want to come down to your layers panel, and at the very bottom it says attach. And that's going to let your Cricut know that this heart is going to be cut out, and then it's going to write these words exactly in the spot that you centered them in. Okay, so that is it. Then you are simply just going to decide on the sizes of all of your hearts. You're going to copy and paste and just have fun designing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this and delete this because now we have recreated exactly how we are going to create these beautiful hearts. Now you understand how to do so. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to say make it right up in the corner here, up in the top right. Go ahead and click make it. And the next thing that we want to do is once we come to this screen, we are going to tell what material size we're using. So we have it going onto a mat, and we are going to select this. Now, if you have 12 by 12 paper that you're using, you're not going to have to select this at all. I am using 8.5 by 11 paper, so I need to select 8.5 by 11 so that it moves my little hearts around and fits them everywhere. Now, if you'll notice right here, this heart, if you can see right here, it's going to cut into this other heart, and I'm not quite sure why the software is allowing it to do that. I've never come into that problem before, but it's an easy fix. You just want to be aware that you want to just double check everything before you hit cut. So I'm just going to drag this heart down. That way it doesn't cut into that other heart. Usually Cricut's really good about spacing them out so that there's no issues like that. And again, I've never run into that before, but just so you're aware, just double check everything, make sure it looks good. You can go through all of your mats, making sure that they all look nice. You can move them around if you want a little bit more room in between. And then after you're done with that, I go back to the first one to make sure that first one is clicked. And then we're going to go continue. On this next screen, it's just going to locate the machine that we are using. And then we're going to select our material. The material that I'm using, again, is a heavy cardstock of about 110 pounds. So I'm going to select the heavy cardstock selection just by clicking it there. Now it's going to prompt us to load our pen into the first clamp. So that is clamp A, and then in clamp B will be our fine point blade. Now, it does not matter what pen color you load here at all. So whatever color you want to do, it's absolutely your decision. Just load whatever color you want into that first clamp A. Okay, let's go ahead and switch back to our craft room table, and I'll show you how to load your mat and get everything loaded into your machine so that you can draw and cut these little hearts out. Okay, so you're actually going to want a blue light grip mat when you are working with paper. I actually don't have one right now, so I'm using my green mat, and the reason I'm okay with it is because this is a very worn mat, so it's really light. It's kind of lost a lot of its stickiness, but you just want a gentler sticky mat so that your paper is not ripped when you are doing this whole process. So again, I would recommend you use the blue light grip mat, but I'm going to use my green one just because of the materials that I have. So now I'm going to take my cardstock, making sure that I put it the correct direction on my mat. And again, you can just reference Cricut Design Space so that you can see which way it's supposed to go. Okay, I'm going to put that onto my mat. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Cricut pen, and I'll link the pens down below. These are really, really fun to use. I'm going to take my pen, take the cap off, and I just put it right on top so that I don't lose it. And then I'm going to go over to clamp A. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to put my pen in, and I'm going to make sure I just clamp it down. Let's see, I'm going to press it down. There we go. I'm going to press it down. That way you kind of hear a little click, and then I will shut the clamp. Okay, now I'm going to load the mat, and I load it by just doing the flashing arrow button. And when you do a project with cutting and Cricut pens, it always does the pen or the drawing first. So it'll do that first, and then afterwards it will automatically switch over to the blade and it will do all of the cutting. So you only have to press go one time and it will do all of the steps for you. So now that this is flashing, I'm going to go ahead and press this play button, which means go. And again, it will do all of the writing first, and then it will switch over to the blade and do all of the cutting. Okay, and that's the final mat, so I'm going to unload. As you saw, I like to turn my mat over and then just peel away the paper in this particular instance from the mat instead of peeling the mat away, or peeling the, you don't want to rip up your paper. You just want to kind of gently remove it from the mat. Okay, now you want to know the hardest part about this whole project? The hardest part is not forgetting to take out your pen. Do not forget to take out your pen or it's going to dry out. So don't do that. Make sure you actually maybe write it down or something, because sometimes I forget that my pen is in there and then it'll get all dry. Okay, so that is as easy as it is. These are so fun. Now, when I actually put these on the door, what I like to do is I like to bend them a little bit, and you of course could have your Cricut give you a little score mark in the middle here if you wanted to use your scoring stylist, but I just give them a little bend. That way when they go on the door, they're nice and dimensional and it kind of feels like they're coming off the door, and it's so, so pretty. And then I just like to layer them so that, you know, there's all shapes and sizes all around the door, and it's just really, really fun. So I hope this was inspiring for just a little fun tradition that you can do leading up to Valentine's Day. Okay, that was such a fun night of crafting for me because I feel like I got so much accomplished and some things off of my list, so it just felt very productive. I love that I have a couple additional things to put in the girls' baskets. Both of these turned out so fun. Again, I'm going to fill these with candy, and then I love how organized these look and sleek they look just to place in the basket. I also love that I have a little something fun for myself for Valentine's Day, but as you can see as well, this doesn't scream Valentine's Day, right? It's definitely Wonder wonderful for the occasion, but it's easy to wear all year round as well because it's just very basic and fun, but so pretty. I also really am loving this beautiful table runner. It turned out really, really fun. I think it's nice and simple, and I can't wait to put it on our table and just give the dining room a fun pop of color. And again, a little something special for the kiddos as we lead up to Valentine's Day. It's something that my kiddos have really enjoyed, so I'm excited to bring this little tradition back again this year. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope I inspired you in some way. Please be sure to give this a thumbs up. And if you're just stopping by to craft tonight, be sure to also subscribe to see what is coming to my channel next. I can't wait to show you what I'll be crafting next, and I'll see you all in the next video.